Okay, right across the street here. That guy lives in Uptown. Can't really live here because what they did was they're trying to get all these buildings empty, turn them into condos. So people who are paying $500 a month rent, $600 a month rent, $700 a month rent, same building, same area, same thing, but now you're looking at $1,100 a month to $1,700 a month in rent. So that's going to cause a great displacement. Now this is Juneway, coming back on Juneway. The real end of the line, dead end street, last street north. And as far as it seems that it appears now is that there's just no daytime traffic. This is one of those places that completely changes when the sun goes down. We'll be getting some footage of that soon. I don't want to leave my car by the beach, so I'm not going to go too far this way right now. But you see, this is a pretty nice looking street. No traffic at all. It's 4:28 in the afternoon on Friday. I have a feeling that we're going to get a lot of footage tonight though. Funny, I don't think I've ever been on this end of Juneway. Well, I'm sure I walked down the street before getting to the beach. Oh, dang. Place where socio-economic lines used to clash real hard. Damn! The fuck is that? And I'm finna save camera space as well. This just lets you know how to get in there. This one way, so you can't drive in this way. This ain't the part of Juneway we was at the other day. It stops right there. Then it starts again on the other side of these buildings up here. How you doing? Hey, would you care to comment for a documentary on the area? Got any opinions on the area? doing a documentary about the near north area.
Okay, but this is near north.
Huh?
I said, yeah, but this is in near north.
So this isn't part of the jungle that we're on.
This is far north. This is far north as you can get.
Okay.
Behind that building is Evanston.
Right.
Yeah.
Far northeast of Chicago goes. In the papers, when they write about the area that the locals and the police refer to as the jungle, in the paper a lot of times they'll call it near north, especially when they first start with the community initiatives. I'm not sure if you're familiar with all the
I'm familiar
Paulina.
with it, but this isn't the area they're talking about. This is they call Jonquil over the jungle, and even Juneway past Ashland, the jungle. But
So this side of Ashland is
not the jungle.
not the jungle.
No.
So
In terms of Juneway, in terms of Jonquil it is, but not in terms of Juneway.
Okay.
Area's going through big change. Those 3 buildings over there used to be apartment buildings, now they're condos. I think they're getting ready to phase out sizable populations, most of which will be black. The few Latin populations that are here, they're going to phase them out too. This is probably the only sizable apartment building in this area right here that hasn't made the condo switches. Everything else this is an apartment building. That over there is it's called a condo, but it looks worse than an apartment building. Area's in big change, big transition. I remember 20 years ago this area was filled with a lot of undesirables, and I wasn't living here, but I had relatives that lived here, and I'd visit them, and the area was not like this. Matter of fact, Gale School was completely different, and the population in Gale School is completely different. That's going to change again. This whole area is going to change again. Rents, if you're going to have rents, are going to be substantially higher. Purchase, I'd say if the real estate market hadn't taken a dive, I'd say the average cost of most of these homes here would be pretty close to $1 million.
Right here, huh?
Yeah, but
this is lakefront property.
Yeah, but because of the real estate crash, they're still modestly priced right now, but I don't see it lasting more than 2 or 3 years. Most of these places will be half to a full $1 million.
Okay.
Not that they're worth it, but like you said, it's lakefront property.
So it's not much of a spillover from that neighborhood right there to this one.
No, because they're gonna clean that up too.
Okay.
You know, they're gonna this block was never bad, but going west it got kind of sour. But Jonquil was bad, very bad for a while. You had all kinds of third worlders and everything else living there. And they were
a lot of Belizeans and Jamaicans.
Oh, everything. A lot of Appalachians and Mexicans and everything. They were all in there. They were all going to Gale School, and they were beating each other to death every day. You know, I had a nephew who was brilliant, but he had to dumb himself down to stay alive.
Right.
I mean, simple as that. He had to play dumb so that he wouldn't get raped and he wouldn't get beat to death, because he's a good-looking kid and he's a smart kid. But he had to play dumb so that they wouldn't think of him that way. And it was smart on his part, but he lost a lot of himself doing that, you know. A lot of these kids who could be smart and be something great in their lives are scared to be, are terrified to be smart, because that's not rewarded. And a lot of that has to do with the competence of the teachers. The teachers are not willing to go to bat, stand up and say no. They just let any old kind of thing happen.
Probably because they're afraid of those children there.
Oh, definitely afraid. Oh, yeah. And I mean, some of them are afraid just because they're afraid. They've been afraid most of their lives. You know, they've grown up in Chicago in areas that have been heavily, I'm a bit older, so gang stuff doesn't really faze me.
Right.
But say somebody 10, 15 years younger than me, they grew up in a gang environment. And I mean, I grew up when they had things like the King Cobras and the Vice Lords, and they were the toughest sons of bitches on earth. But
they were more militant, more racially conscious.
Yeah, but I grew up with an attitude that once you got to a certain age, you start running and you became a man, and that's how I've stayed, you know. But that attitude isn't shared by somebody, say, 40. Somebody 40 say, I've been growing up with a gang all my life. I'm going to still be fearful of a gang when I'm 50 and 60 years old. I just can't do that, you know,
Right.
stuff like that. So a lot of people in this block, I like that too. I'd say the average age on this block is about maybe 50, average age. Uh, Maybe even, yeah, I'd say 50. And some considerably older, some not too much younger.
So the complaints I hear over there at the Triangle Park, I probably won't hear about the homeless
No, not here,
spilling
not on
over
this
from
block,
the shelters and
not
the.
on this block.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, a little bit on that block, on Jonko,
Hmm.
uh, and on Howard, yeah, on Howard, yeah. Howard's always been a no man's terrified land, but you're not going to hear that here. Um, uh, Not on this block. This block is unique.
Okay.
Uh, but the funny part about it is that people think because it's so unique that they can park here and not get a boot, and they get booted like crazy. You know, I know I got burned once myself, so I know you don't get away. You know, so
I don't want to hold you. I'll walk with you
yeah,
because
this
I got to walk back
yeah,
towards my car up
I'm
here.
right here, but
Oh,
this
okay.
is it's a nice area, and this is a great block. It's ideally located. A lot of people want to hold on to their properties, but their kids aren't coming back, so they're just letting them go. I saw one white guy stand over here and saw his building. It was redone, well done, and he stood and cried for like 3 hours
Mm,
because that's where he grew up,
right.
you know, and he didn't want to see it change. He didn't want to see.
Let me get this off of you.
Okay, thanks. He didn't want to see it go through any difference, but that's the way it is. And he cried for 3 hours. I couldn't believe it. I sat in my car and I just watched him. He just stood there crying. Had a suit on. The suit cost a grand, at least a grand. Shoes cost about half
Mm.
a grand. And he's standing there crying like a baby because of change, you know, and stuff like that. I guess that's the way a lot of them cried when Barack Obama got elected. But that's just the way it goes, you know. But this area can be a great area if it's allowed to be. Uh, but they're going to have to do a lot of cleaning up. But ironically, what you call the jungle is where the work has to be done, and that's what they've targeted. They've tried to keep it secret, but there've been a lot of block being done here that have just been all white, and they've left the black property owners out because they plan to clean this jungle up, and they figure none of us wants to participate in it because our own people are involved. That's you know,
And
that's their short-sightedness.
it's easy to see the conflict too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's easy to see the conflict because you got the cameras, and some people say crime has gone down, and at the same time, you probably what 20-30% of those stores are still open.
Well, like I said, you're not going to hardly, if you find, I don't think you might find some crime here, and that would be because that alley right there.
That's what leads
People
out
come
from
up
the
in
other
here and
part of
bringing
Juneway.
contraband up in here from time to time. That's cut down a great deal in the last 5 years. I won't say it's non-existent, but it's nearly non-existent compared to 5 years ago. Um, Jonko, you got a lot of the holdovers who don't want the area to change, who want it to stay a thug empire and the jungle. That's all they've ever known, and all their life is the jungle. They don't want it to be anything but the jungle, you know. And they don't want no change, positive or otherwise. Because they wouldn't know what to do with it. You
Right.
know, they don't understand it, so they don't want to change it. So, but this could be quite an ideal place for everybody, you know. And if they just allow it, you know, because there's some political elements that would love for it to stay the way it is,
Right.
because it's a lot of other things involved here. It's got a lot of big money.
A
Uh,
lot of political capital here.
yeah, a lot, a lot. The alderman is a very powerful guy.
Alderman Moore.
Yeah, he's a very powerful guy, and he's one of the few that you can take on daily from time to time and get his way. He's one of the very few, so that makes him a dangerous man in terms of things. He can do things. He's gotten things done. And he's lost a couple of times too, but he is not afraid to fight one way or the other. So and he's given a lot of block stuff and been involved and sent representatives and stuff like that. He's not a Superman, but he's better than no man.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
This documentary is gonna. I know my editor and producer gonna have a hard time portraying him because we're getting a lot of mixed opinions about
well,
Mr. Moore.
I'm sure. I'm sure, and that always happens when you do your job.
Right.
When you don't do your job, everything's either all bad or all good. When you're doing your job, the ones that are affected positively, yeah, the ones that are affected negatively, kill him. So he's doing his job. So and I'm not getting paid anything for it. So stuff like that. I'm just glad that this block is what it is. This building. See, what I don't like about this is that this building is managed by Wilmette,
Mm.
and Wilmette they don't give a shit.
Yeah, they're notorious for neglecting the tenants.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. And they hire all these East Euros as opposed to locals or even Black Americans. They don't even hire them. And these East Euros, they come in. They got people working here from New York, from Kansas City. Like there's nobody here that needs or wants a job.
Right, right.
And they know what they're doing. They're paying people nothing. When they make repairs, they use the cheapest stuff. And Wilmette, there's no excuse because Wilmette makes a lot of money and owns a lot of properties, and they've got the money to really do some quality work, but they absolutely refuse. Matter of fact, I thought they would have gave this building up by now. But I guess there's some other things involved, and they can't quite let the fat cow go yet. So that kind of thing. But yeah, but. They had a black woman who used to be over this area. She disappeared. I don't know where she went.
Was she an activist, local activist?
She was very good about maintaining the credibility and quality of this building. And
Okay.
as soon as I didn't see her anymore, these East Euros started coming, and they got these maintenance crews, and they run. They don't just run one building; they run in 3 and 4 buildings, and they living in 3 and 4 buildings, and they're making management decisions, and they don't have the brains of a tree, and so that's what Wilmette is doing. I don't know about the others, but this, and I'm saying this building could be a fine structure if they would just put 25% of the work that's needed into it, just 25, but they're working hard to not do it. They put it just as much labor to not do it as it would as it would somebody doing it. So you might as well do it, but they don't want to spend the money, little or no, so I've had 4 maintenance crews change in 5 years, and each one has gotten a bit worse. The first guy that was here was cool. The second one was even better than the first one. And then we got 2 sets, and those 2 sets are worse. And this chick proudly says, I love the New York thing, and she feels this place full of people that look like they're from a New York ghetto. I mean, she don't just get people, she gets anything. And she doesn't care whether they look like they got a job or not. Just either have a Section 8 certificate or pay some money in her pocket, and she'll let you in. And she don't care if quality people complain, because y'all quality people can come somewhere else and pay big quality money to stay up here while I make a living off these Section 8 people and stuff like that. So it could be better. It should be better, but as long as there's no pressure being exerted to improve, like all these homes have all improved, every last one of them. I mean, this guy right here, he spent, to me, it's a black guy too, he spent much too much money to improve that property.
It looks beautiful. I was noticing that this way.
It was a piece of shit a year ago, a year and a half ago. Now, about a year ago, it transformed, and then as of about maybe 2 or 3 months ago, you got those trees that just come in there. And there's another black guy that owns a piece of property down there. He was trying to sell it. He couldn't unload it for the money he wanted, so he kept it in rehab better. And then There's a black woman. I don't know if she's Belizean or what, but she rents them to black people, all black from the third world.
Hmm.
No black Americans. You know, so there's the bias there. You got this African, Caribbean, I don't like the American black attitude. Um, uh, that also, because see, they're here to help the oppressor step on our neck. They're not here to be our friends. They're not here to be our brothers. And there's no outreach. You know, if there's outreach, it's us doing it. You know, and then I find out from a very disconcerting source that a lot of the very beautiful Ethiopian women, 85% of them are here. They've been sent here to be prostitutes.
Hmm.
You know, and you wonder why they ain't looking at you. They ain't looking at you because you ain't white and you ain't got the money. You know, and you said, I thought it was my breath or something. You know, it's not that. It's you ain't white and you ain't got the money. You know, and that's what they were bought here for. Was that? You know, and you said, who bought them? Well, you know, nobody black bought them.
Hmm.
You know, and so that's wild, and that's working itself all around and into things. You know, it's not just uptown; it's up here now. This you know, like jobs. You know, they're giving Africans jobs that African Americans should have. You
Right,
know,
right.
because they can pay them 25% less, and they'll take the job gladly.
And
You
they're
know,
not worried about the association and
because they don't want nothing to do with us.
the attitudes.
Yeah, or bad, very bad attitude. They don't even want to pick you up in the cab. You know, stuff like that. When you get a cab here, this is Evanston, right? No, this is not quite Evanston, across the street. Oh, hell, I can't add the extra 15% on.
Hmm.
You know, and they don't want to pick you up because they can't get that extra 15%. You know, so it's a rough ride when you look like us over here. You know, you know, you gotta know where you stand. You gotta know where limits and boundaries are. You gotta know where to step and where to avoid, because there's definitely things and places to avoid.
So I guess I could put you in the same category that I'm getting a lot from the brothers and sisters, that there's a lot of racial profiling here,
Oh,
a lot of racial
oh,
discrimination and
oh.
brutality against the local young black males over
Well,
here.
the young black males here, for the most part, aren't trying to do what you would want young black males to do.
Right.
It's a heavy criminal element, and being a former social worker and school teacher, I know what I'm looking at, and I wish it wasn't. I'd work for free to help it make it not be so, you know. But that's not what's being cultivated. Yes, a lot of profiling here, but just like that thing that happened with Henry Louis Gates a couple of weeks ago, that wasn't racial profiling. That was Gates being stupid. You know, and I know Gates, so I know that's him being stupid. You know,
I thought you were
that's
Mr.
why
Gates
he
at
don't
first.
particularly care for me. You know, and that's that's a mutual feeling. You know, but I like Skippy, but he's a hard-headed guy. But and that kind of thing.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? All right. Hey, how you doing? Okay. So, but yeah, and the police are up here all the time. But for the most part, they need to, because if you don't, they're gonna, okay, like they said, it used to be Gale Park was supposed to be closed at 9:30. Now they raised it to 11:30. Anything to keep from telling people go home
Hmm.
and stop scaring the shit out of these women. And women here, white women walk around and fearlessly because they know ain't nothing gonna happen to them. But black women, especially middle class black women, are terrified because they know if they walk through Gale Park and it's not 12 noon, they're not gonna make it through unaccosted.
Mm.
You know, and stuff like that. So the safest time for them is Sunday from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, and then they better get their butt in the house or be in a car.
And that's the new park by the school, you
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Right where the flashing light is.
Yeah,
So,
oh yeah. That flashing light needs to be there.
okay.
Because it's on a Hispanic building, ironically, you know, and there used to be a lot of that. There used to be a lot of run-ins between blacks and Hispanic. All of a sudden, somebody woke up and it stopped. So you don't have those bitter clashes up here at the park that was here maybe 5, 6 years ago. Somebody woke up and said, hey, we in this together, you know. Um, and when that stopped, a lot of hostile stuff stopped. All of a sudden, they started bringing in taco and tortilla trucks around, and everybody was buying it, and nobody was angry no more. Nobody was calling people names and stuff like that. People talked and shared like, views and ideas, you know, and stuff like that. So a lot of this is designed, you know, I'll call it that, and that kind of thing. So, what paper is this, you know?
This is independent LMD Productions. We're trying to make a documentary. Hopefully PBS is our first choice, and then if not, we have some editors in New York that we're gonna have to try to sell it door to door once we get the finished product. But let me give you my personal card.